Hey guys, tonight we're stepping into a life you probably wouldn't survive for even a day. Not as a Roman senator or a fearless gladiator. No, tonight, you are a household slave in the Roman Empire. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And hey, let me know where you're listening from, and what time it is for you down in the comments. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum. And let's ease into tonight's journey together. You're jolted awake. Not by sunlight, but by the sound of 3 sharp knocks on the wooden frame beside your head. No words, no greeting, just a shadow in the doorway and a familiar voice that mutters one word. Up. Your name? Not worth mentioning. Your bed? A fraying mat in the corner of a storeroom. You slept curled beside a stack of barley sacks, hoping the mice wouldn't get too bold. The air is damp with morning fog and old linen. Your knees creak as you rise, your arms already sore. Know what's coming. Another day, another set of commands. Outside, the atrium echoes with the clatter of jugs and sandals. The domina, your master's wife, is already raising her voice over something. Someone spilled, or didn't polish properly. You hope it wasn't you. You don't remember. A bucket is shoved into your hands. You're told to fetch water from the courtyard cistern. Again, your bare feet slap against the stone tiles. Cool, slick, and already streaked with yesterday's dust. A child, one of the family's sons, comes running past. He slaps your thigh with a reed stick and laughs without looking back. You flinch, but only inside. Outwardly, you smile, because last time someone grimaced at him, they spent 2 days cleaning the family's chamber pots. You remember the smell. You remember the flies. You keep smiling. Inside, the floor needs scrubbing. Again, there's a chipped mosaic of Neptune on the ground. His seahorse tail is cracked in 2. No one cares. But if the floor isn't spotless, you'll hear about it. So you kneel and begin wiping down tiles with a rag that smells like vinegar and thyme. Your next task, sandals. Not yours, of course. Your master's cracked leather sandals. Need to look like they were made yesterday. You crouch in the shade, rubbing oil into the seams, with hands that haven't known rest in weeks. There's still a stain on the left one. A blot from a spilled fig sauce 2 months ago. You've been trying to hide it ever since. He hasn't noticed yet. Romans loved giving their slaves names like Felix Lucky, Fidelis Faithful, or Tachita Quiet. You're called Festus. No one remembers why. Even the overseer shrugs when you ask. Suddenly, a commotion near the fountain. Someone's dropped a coin. A silver denarius, worth enough to feed 3 people for a day. Now the whole courtyard is frozen. Everyone's searching the ground. The domina narrows her eyes. You feel the breath catch in your chest. You didn't take it, but that's rarely the point. After 10 minutes crawling between floor cracks, your fingers brush something cool and round. You hand it over. She doesn't thank you. Just says, try not to steal next time. There's no breakfast. Just more water to haul. More cloth to wash. The sky is only now turning pale blue. And already your legs are heavy. Your stomach aches with emptiness. And your mind drifts to the same thought it always does. At this time of day, it's only been an hour. Only 23 more to go. You're scrubbing the floor when the next task comes in. And as always, it comes without warning. The villicus passes behind you, his sandals tapping the mosaic tiles like a ticking clock. He stops. Points. The kitchen. Your stomach twists. You were hoping for something quiet. Maybe trimming hedges. But no. It's kitchen duty today. Inside, the air is thick. Part smoke, part steam, part something that smells like burned chickpeas. There are 2 cooks already shouting at each other in low, breathless Latin. One blames the other for using the wrong oil. Again. You are handed a pot. It's still hot from the fire. You nearly drop it, but you don't. You say nothing. You always say nothing. The kitchen isn't glamorous. It's not where meals are savored. It's where they're survived. There are no windows. Only soot-dark walls and racks of dried herbs, dangling like tiny prisoners above your head. You're told to clean the counter. A slab of limestone, stained permanently with wine, fish, and something red you hope is beetroot. No one says it aloud, but everyone knows. If the master's food is wrong, someone will pay for it, and it won't be him. In a corner, a pot of porridge boils, thick, bubbling, smelling faintly of barley and ash. You stir, carefully, clockwise, then counter. Not because it matters, but because the last girl who stirred too fast splashed the domina's breakfast robe. She now works in the stables. With the goats. You don't want goats. Someone passes you a tray. You recognize the cups. Small clay things, delicate with painted rims. You hate those cups, because if you break one, you'll have to carry a replacement. From the vendor across town. On foot. In the heat. And barefoot. One of the cooks hands you a leaf. You pause. It's wilted. Use it anyway, he shrugs. You don't question. You place it neatly beneath a cheese wedge. And hope no one notices. And then, there's the meat. The master's brother is coming for lunch. And he only eats lamb. The problem? You're fairly certain this isn't lamb. But no one's admitting that. You carry the skewer to the fire anyway. You turn it slowly, wincing every time fat hisses into the coals. Someone bumps your elbow. You catch the stick just in time. The villicus saw. He doesn't say a word, but he nods once, which is worse. He'll remember that. Historians still debate just how specialized Roman slaves became in the kitchen. Some believe elite cooks were trained, even prized. Others argue most were thrown into the heat with no guidance. Expected to learn by burning and bruising. You don't feel prized. You feel like smoke. Like heat clinging to your skin. Like someone who might forget their own name before the olives are plated. The kitchen quiets for a moment. The midday bell sounds outside. Lunch is nearly ready. The tray is filled. The porridge is poured. Your task now? Serve. You balance the tray against your hip. Step into the dining room. Your master doesn't look at you. No one does. You pour wine into bronze cups. And try not to let your hand shake. Your knees ache. Your fingers burn. And still, you smile. Because no one notices the quiet slave. Until something goes wrong. And in this house, something always does. The tray is empty now. The last olive pit has been flicked aside. The guests are still laughing. But not at anything funny. Just the kind of laughter that fills silence when there's wine. And too much pride at the table. You slip away unnoticed. That's a skill you've mastered. Disappearing while in plain sight. You return to the kitchen. Your stomach growls as you pass the scraps. But you know better than to ask. You're not allowed to eat until after sundown. And only if there's something left. You're wiping the table when a new order comes. You deliver this. It's a parcel. Wrapped in wax cloth. Tied with rough string. No label, no explanation. Just a direction, east. Toward the baths. You nod. Tuck the bundle under your arm. And step into the streets of Rome. The light outside is blinding at first. The kitchen was a cave. Now the city breathes in your face. Hot, noisy, chaotic. Vendors shout over each other. Goats and donkeys jostle for space. Someone's playing a reed flute badly. But with great enthusiasm. You blink into the sun. Adjust the cloth strap over your shoulder. And start walking. There's no carriage for you. No sandals either. Just your bare feet. On cobblestones. Warm from the sun. And sharp in all the wrong places. A cart wheels past. Too close. You step aside, nearly losing your balance. A woman scolds her child nearby. Then throws you a look. As if your presence alone is a disruption. You say nothing. Always nothing. You pass a bakery. The smell of warm honeyed bread is so real, so thick in the air. You almost think someone handed you a bite. But no. Just scent. Just air. Nothing yours. You tighten your grip on the parcel and keep walking. You're halfway there when the accident happens. A boy on the street knocks over a bucket of fish brine. It spills across the stones. Slick. Sticky, sharp in the nose. You step in it. Your foot slides. The parcel slips. You barely catch it. Your wrist bends. Pain flares. But the string holds. The cloth stays dry. And no one notices. Which is somehow worse. Scholars still debate how freely Roman slaves could move through the city. Some say trusted ones had liberty to run errands. Others believe they were always watched, always tethered to someone's permission. You don't feel free. You feel like a ghost. With a job. You reach the bathhouse at last. It's quieter here. Steam rises from behind marble walls. Civic pride fills the fountains. Men with towels over their shoulders nod at each other. Like generals meeting in peace. You wait at the side door. An attendant opens it. You hand over the parcel. He doesn't ask your name. He just shuts the door. Mission complete. You turn around and sigh, because now you walk all the way back. You take a slower route, partly to delay returning to chores, partly because your feet hurt. You pass the Temple of Fortuna. There's incense in the air. A girl drops a copper coin in the basin and whispers a wish you can't hear. You almost do the same, just to feel human. But your hands are empty. So you keep walking. When you reach the house again, the sun is higher, the air is heavier, and the villicus is waiting. He doesn't speak, just nods, toward the bathhouse. Your bathhouse, not for soaking, but for scrubbing. You head toward the small service entrance behind the bathhouse, not the grand one used by senators and merchants, but the one for servants, for cleaners, for you. The smell hits you first. It's not unpleasant, just dense. A mix of warm stone, wet towels, sweat, oils, and rose water. Inside, voices echo, men joking, water splashing. Someone shouting for more towels. No one looks at you. You're not part of the leisure here. You're part of the background. A pair of sandals squeaks across the mosaic. Another slave hands you a bucket and a stiff-bristled brush. There are water rings around the marble benches. You already know what to do. You crouch and scrub. Steam clings to your skin. Your tunic is damp within minutes. The air is so warm it feels thick, like walking through someone's breath. Nearby, two wealthy men sit chatting about property and the cost of olives this season, and which deity helped them most this week. They never acknowledge you, not even when you're inches from their ankles, wiping sandal marks from the tile. You move to the caldarium, the hottest room in the bathhouse. The heat curls around your arms, presses against your lungs. Your skin pricks with sweat immediately. Someone left oil smeared across the ledge. You scrub it away with crushed leaves and a rough rag. The smell is sharper here, like eucalyptus and old copper. A client grunts for assistance. You grab a strigil, a curved metal scraper, and gently slide it down his back, removing oil and dirt. He nods, doesn't say thank you, just tosses you a wet towel, and waves you off like a buzzing fly. You squeeze the towel, wring it dry, and move on. Historians still debate whether bathhouse workers were slaves or low-paid freemen. The answer is likely both. But either way, they weren't here to relax. They were here to clean up after those who did. You return to the corner where soaps and tools are kept. Another slave older than you offers a rare half-smile. She's missing a front tooth, but her hands work like clockwork. She whispers, "Stay near the wall when the senator's son comes. He likes to trip people." You nod. A moment later he enters. Young, smirking, wearing too many rings. For someone who hasn't earned any. You hug the wall. He doesn't notice you. Which is good. You've seen what happens when he does. Your task shifts. Now you're carrying towels. From one room to the next. Stacking wooden sandals. Hauling buckets to refill the foot baths. It's mindless. But exhausting. You keep going. Because stopping means someone else has to do it. And they won't like that. And you'll both be punished. You breathe slow. In through your nose. Out through your teeth. That's how you last longer in the heat. That's how the old ones taught you. You glance at the exit. Just for a moment. Sunlight slices through the curtain. Outside, the world continues. Inside, time melts into steam. You're not sure if it's noon or late afternoon. Just that your arms are tired. And your legs ache. And your hands. Your hands are starting to cramp. You flex your fingers. Shake them loose. And keep going. One final task. Scrubbing the stone bench in the tepidarium. Someone dropped fruit on it earlier. It's sticky now. Squashed figs and orange pulp. Ground into the grout. You kneel. Pick up each piece with care. Wipe. Rinse. Repeat. No one sees. No one thanks you. But the stone is clean again. That's all that matters. You gather your bucket. Not to the old woman. And step back into the street. The sun is lower now. Still warm. But not cruel. And your master's house awaits. The sun hangs low. Not quite setting. But tired. You feel the same. Your tunic clings to your back. Damp with steam and sweat. The straps of the water bucket bite into your palm. You don't complain. You've learned that pain, when silent, fades faster. Back at the house, the kitchen smells different now. Richer. Spices. Roasted onions. Vinegar and honey. The evening meal is coming. Which means you're not done. Not even close. The villicus meets you near the storage room. Doesn't ask how the bathhouse went. Doesn't check your hands or feet. Just says, hey, they're having guests tonight. You know what that means. The fancy cups. The good wine. The long instructions. Spoken too fast and too loud. You nod. He hands you a folded linen towel. Your signal to help serve. Inside the triclinium, the dining room, oil lamps flicker from bronze brackets. The walls are painted with faded scenes of satyrs and vines. You've seen them so many times. They feel like roommates. The master is already reclining. One elbow on a cushion. He's telling a story you've heard before. Something about a military campaign. He never fought in. You move silently. Lay out the cups. Unroll the napkins. You touch nothing twice. That's the trick. The guests arrive in pairs. Men with polished shoes. And women with voices like silk and knives. They pretend not to see you. Except one, a senator's wife. Who catches your eye. Just long enough to say, "Don't spill this time." You bow slightly. Say nothing. Because last time, you tripped on a sandal strap and spilled diluted wine on her sleeve. You remember the sting of the punishment, more than the wine itself. You serve the food. Warm bread. Sliced figs. Stewed lentils. Lamb with coriander. You don't taste any of it. You smell it. Carry it. Balance it. But you do not eat. Your hands move with rhythm now. A kind of trance. One dish, one tray. One refill. Refill. Smile. Step back. Repeat. One guest waves you over, a man with too many rings. And too few teeth. He grins. Grabs your wrist. Not tightly. But firmly. You freeze. He says, "You've got the hands of a sculptor." You don't respond. He laughs at his own joke. And let's go. You walk away slowly. Your heart is beating louder than your footsteps. No one notices. That's good. That's safer. Historians still argue how often slaves were harassed by guests, and whether their masters protected them. The answer? Likely, rarely. In a house like this, protection is for the silverware, not the hands that carry it. The meal drags on. Jokes, wine, stories that start nowhere and go nowhere. At some point. Sleep. If there's space. If there's time. But before rest can even cross your mind, the Villicus appears again. He doesn't shout. He doesn't scowl. He just lifts a finger and points to the courtyard. You follow. The livestock pen. You'd nearly forgotten. There's a goat missing. Again. And someone's going to have to find it. Before morning. That someone is you. The courtyard is dark now. The oil lamps cast long, flickering shadows that dance across the stone walls. You hear distant laughter from inside the house. But out here, only the low snorts of animals and the scraping of your own sandals on gravel. The pen smells strong. Hay, dung, and something sour. You can't name. You grab a thin rope and a stick, not to hit, just to guide. You whisper to the animals, not because they listen, but because the quiet helps you stay calm. After 10 minutes, you find the goat. It hasn't escaped. It's just lying in the corner, chewing something that doesn't belong to it. You sigh, pick it up by the collar, let it gently back into place. The gate creaks closed. Another task. Done. Back inside, the guests are finally gone. The triclinium is half cleared. You're told to help sweep. Bits of bread. Crushed grapes. A broken ring from someone's sandal. You sweep slowly, letting your mind wander. Just enough to survive the motion. A thought occurs. How many of these people even know your name? You're not sure they'd recognize your face if they saw it in daylight. But that, too, is safer. You fold towels. Stack plates. Wipe the sweat from your brow with a sleeve that's already soaked. You hope the floor stays dry, because if someone slips tomorrow, they'll blame the one who cleaned it, which, by the way, is still you. You finish in the dining room and step into the back corridor. It's quieter here. The noise, the smells, the eyes, they've all faded into other rooms. This is where the servants breathe. Not deeply, but enough. You lean against the wall. Just for a second. Not long enough to be caught. Just long enough to feel your heartbeat. Settle. The old man who cleans the tools passes you a piece of dried fruit. A fig, split in half. You don't ask where he got it. You just nod. You chew slowly, as if it's a feast. You haven't tasted sweetness in days. Historians still argue whether house slaves in Rome were allowed small kindnesses. Some accounts suggest shared meals, brief friendships, even laughter behind closed doors. Others say silence ruled everything. Tonight, the fig says more than any law ever could. You're called again, this time by the domina herself. She wants the brazier moved from her chamber to the guest room. It's hot, heavy, smoldering at the edges. You use a cloth to grip the handles. One misstep, and you'll burn yourself. You carry it anyway. You set it down. She doesn't thank you. Just waves you off. You step into the hallway. Alone. The light is soft now, and the walls feel closer than before. Your legs tremble slightly, not from fear, not even from pain, just from being used. Longer than they wanted to be. You descend the back stairwell. Each step creaks. Each breath stretches longer. You reach the bottom floor, where the storerooms are quiet, cooler, and you begin to think, maybe, you'll get to sleep soon. But then, a voice calls out, your name. Again. There's something else to do. Always something else. The voice belongs to the youngest son, barely 10 years old. He's standing barefoot in the hallway, holding a lamp that's clearly too heavy for him, but refusing to let it go. He squints at you like you're late, even though you didn't know you were coming. Mother says to check the storeroom. The mice are back. Of course they are. You take the lamp from him gently. He doesn't thank you. He just disappears, like a satisfied little emperor. You walk slowly, the flame dancing with each step. The hallway narrows. Stone gives way to packed earth. The smell changes. Grain, old oil, and dust, settling thick in your lungs. The storeroom is cold. A different kind of cold. Not just the chill of night, but that quiet, stale stillness that only comes from forgotten spaces. You kneel, inspect the corners, and yes, the mice are back. They've chewed through a sack of millet. Tiny trails of scattered seeds glitter like sand. You don't panic. You don't even flinch. You just sweep, and patch, and move on, because this isn't new. You hear a rustle behind one of the barrels. You pause, lean closer. It's not a mouse. It's a rat, much bigger. Its eyes catch the lamplight for half a second, before it darts away into the darkness. Like smoke with legs. You sigh. Place a trap near the hole. Just one. You'll check it tomorrow. Historians debate how well-fed household slaves were. Some say they shared in leftovers. Others believe they lived on the edge. Always just full enough to keep moving. Tonight, your belly is still empty, but your hands are steady, and your mind is clear, and that's enough to keep going. You leave the storeroom quietly, closing the wooden door behind you, with the care of someone who's learned that loud noises can become punishments. Outside, the house has dimmed. Most lamps are low. Voices are fewer. Even the air feels gentler now. But you're still needed. The animals. Again, you step into the courtyard. A donkey kicks softly in its sleep. The chickens are still. But one of the pigs has knocked over its trough. And water's pooling near the fence. You set it upright. Refill it from the cistern. Pat the pig once on its muddy head. It snorts. Almost kindly. You sit on the edge of the stone wall for a moment. Just a moment. It's the first time all day. Your legs are folded beneath you. Instead of holding your weight, the sky is full now. Dark blue. Stars peeking through. Somewhere, far off, a lyre plays from a neighbor's courtyard. You close your eyes, let the breeze touch your skin, and you allow just for this minute, a single thought that doesn't hurt. But the moment passes. The door creaks. The villicus again. He says nothing. Just tosses you a rag, and nods toward the hall. You don't ask why. You never do. You stand, stretch, and walk back inside. Your legs ache. Your arms burn. Your feet feel like stone. But you're still upright. Still walking. Still awake. The rag he tossed you is damp. And slightly warm. Which means one thing. Someone spilled something. And that someone is not going to clean it themselves. You follow the faint scent of wine and vinegar. Down the hall toward the guest chamber. The door's ajar. Inside, the oil lamp is still lit. Low. Flickering shadows across the walls. There, on the marble floor, a dark stain spreading beside a half-eaten fig. You kneel. Blot gently. Work from the outside in. It's not a big mess. But it's late. And your body doesn't care. Whether it's a small stain or a storm. It just wants to stop. You don't. You wipe. Ring. Wipe again. The floor dries. The room quiets. You rise. And exhale. You step out into the hallway, expecting nothing more. But then, a shout from the main entrance. Not angry. Urgent. The master's cousin has arrived. Unannounced. Drunk. And apparently, he's lost his sandal. They want you to go fetch it from the alley behind the bathhouse at this hour. Because, of course, you're the one who's awake. You don't argue. You just nod, wrap a shawl over your shoulders, and step out into the street. The night is cooler now, still, except for the distant shuffle of someone dragging a crate, and the occasional dog barking at nothing. The alley behind the bathhouse is darker than most, narrow, shadowed by slanted roofs, and leaning stone walls. You tread carefully. Your feet find puddles, cobbles, and the occasional sharp edge. But there it is, the sandal, tossed beside a broken amphora, reeking of spoiled wine. You pick it up, Hold it at arm's length, and begin the walk back. Halfway home, you hear a sound. Not loud, but not wind. Footsteps, not yours. You don't turn. You keep walking, evenly, but your breath changes. Someone's there. Too close. Too quiet. You reach the side entrance of the house. Open it quickly. Step inside. Close it behind you. Only then. Do you glance back? Nothing. Just night. Just silence. Historians still wonder how safe Roman cities were for slaves after dark. Some say curfews were enforced. Others argue most were invisible, unless they caused trouble. You've never caused trouble, but you've seen what happens to those who do. And so, you remain unseen, untroubled, and alive. The sandal is dropped near the entrance. The cousin is already asleep, slumped against a column, snoring into his own lap. No one says thank you. Of course not. You walk away, back down the corridor, back to the storeroom. Your storeroom. You push the door open with your shoulder. Step inside. The air is cooler here. Familiar. Your mat is still there. A little wrinkled, but whole. You fold yourself onto it. Knees first. Then elbows. Then finally, everything else. The world narrows. Your body sinks. And for the first time in 24 hours, you let go. You stare at the ceiling until it stops being a ceiling and becomes a quiet blur. Your ears ring faintly from a day's worth of footsteps, commands, and never quite enough sleep. And still, you've survived. Now, the house is silent. The guests have gone. The fires are low. Somewhere nearby, a bird calls once, then falls quiet. Your arms are sore, but not trembling. Your back presses into the mat, and you don't mind the way it dips in the middle. You're used to it now. The chill in the air feels softer than before. Or maybe your skin has forgotten what warm really is. Either way, you're still. And it's enough. The goat is fed. The floor is clean. The sandal is returned. The cousin is asleep. And no one is calling your name. That, in a house like this, is the closest thing to peace. You let your thoughts drift, slow and heavy, like wool soaking in warm water. You think about figs, and the liar, and the old woman's missing tooth. And then you stop thinking. The quiet becomes everything, and the everything fades. Sleep. Now, you've earned it.